Leveling used to be sacred. The journey used to be the singular most important thing in World of Warcraft. But as the community has evolved, as the times have gone on, as it's no longer the year 2004, leveling is no longer as important as people would like to say it is. Now let's talk about the purity, the pure existence of Classic and the world and what it used to be. Let's talk about the nostalgia and the memories that made us believe that leveling was the journey, because once upon a time, it was. When World of Warcraft was first made in 2004, it had always been about leveling, the journey to 60. Not as many people rated as people would like to think. It wasn't because it was inaccessible, it was accessible to anybody. It was just hard, PCs, lag, this or that. But anybody once you got to the end game could experience it slowly, but they could. But the journey is where most people had their fun. It's where the most memories were formed. It's where most people found friends, communities, and guilds. But once you continue over to 2019, that experience did continue. A huge portion of the player base, despite MC being cleared in 4 days by apes in greens and blues, people enjoyed the leveling, they enjoyed the journey, they enjoyed the world and just how it felt. And at the time, 2019, hashtag no changes also meant hashtag no boost, hashtag no nothing. Play the game the way it was intended. People kinda enforced that. Like, you didn't see boosting initially. It didn't come about till a few months after the experience, after the launch. People still did it. For example, Joker getting level 60 world first, with Mage boosting himself all the way to 60. So it was still there. I don't want to lie here and tell you nobody was doing it. People were absolutely boosting people and friends and communities, but it wasn't widespread. And that slow leveling, it was romanticized. It used to be so difficult. I don't know if you guys remember this, but back in 2018 and 17, people used to say Classic is the hardest version of the game. You retail players have it so easy. You guys don't know how easy you have it. Back in my day, I had to level up a mountain both ways through the ocean, which was under the mountain and on top of the mountain. And I had to kill all these mobs and do all this nightmarish stuff to get level 60. I earned my endgame. And then it turned out that it was kind of boring. Let's be real. Initially it wasn't. But come to 2025, after you've leveled 17 characters, 30 characters, however many characters you're at, that vibe just doesn't hit anymore, does it? You don't really care about the leveling, the world, the vibes. But I'll talk about that more in a bit. On top of that, there was no level boost at the time. Now, there wasn't retail and people hated it. You destroyed the world, you destroyed the community, the boost is terrible. And then slowly but surely, guess what everybody started to do in Classic? They started to pay for mage boosting. They started to pay for hunter boost, warlock maraudon boost. The boost started to kick in. Slowly but surely, that culture, that community started to get eroded. So let's fast forward to 2021 with TBC. Guess what happens? The Dark Portal bundle. And in this bundle, there was two things, a mount and a boost. Now, Asmongold did a huge campaign called the /spit campaign. And to all the people that were buying the boost or the mount, they got /spit on. I remember being in Stormwind at the time, seeing some guy with the lizard mount, I forget its name, the Darkstalker. Hundreds of people were spitting on him. Thousands of people. Within a couple days, guess what happened? /spit was removed from the game because we can't have you making the people spending money feel bad. How dare you? So /spit was removed, but the boost stayed. The mount stayed. People were boosting. More people were boosted than people want to actually admit, because by that point, the leveling and the journey no longer really mattered. All that mattered was hitting max level, so you could PvP, so you could raid, so you could do the content. And the funniest thing about all that public outcry, all that public outrage, the amount of level 58 boosties was way too high. There could not have been that many people effectively campaigning, complaining, rioting, when such a huge portion of the player base was buying the boost. But it's where that shift started to begin. Boosting was no longer about cheating, it was saving time. Effectively in 2025, if you go onto any server, it's want to sell this service, want to sell this boost, want to sell this item farm. You're looking for your Hodge, want to sell Hodge runs. Don't even bother running Blackrock Depths. Sit there at the entrance, and if it drops, we'll give it to you for 50G, 100G, 200G, whatever item you're looking for, somebody's selling it. That's where we've gotten. Efficiency. Everything from 1 to 60, 1 to 70, 1 to whatever is just part of the beginning so you can prep for the end game. Skipping the entire game to play the end is now not just socially acceptable, it's expected. Get there fast, get there smoothly, let's start raiding. But on top of that, I remember initially when the game first launched back in 2019, there wasn't that many boosters. They still were there, but there wasn't that many. By TBC, they were everywhere. By late 2020, just before TBC's launch, Mage boosts, Maraudon boosts, ZG boosts, out the ass. Any form of boosting you could see became commonplace and accepted. Now, Wrath of the Lich King and Cataclysm, it's a whole different conversation. By that point, boosting was normal. Nobody even gave a shit anymore. Nobody even batted an eye. People were just like, yeah, it's what it is. We're just boosting, we're just trying to raid. We're leveling a new alt GDKPs. Let's get these boosts going. Let's get this gold farm going. We're trying to do this. We're trying to grind this. Come on. Nobody cares about the leveling. The journey does not matter anymore. You level one character, you experience 60 to 70. You experience 70 to 80. You do 80 to 85 just once, and then after that, everyone starts boosting. Whether it's paying someone in game to boost you or buying a boost from Blizzard. If you can skip it and you can pay for it, a lot of people opted to pay for it to skip it. Now, do keep in mind one caveat. There were still people that loved the game, loved the world, loved leveling, loved grinding. Those people kept doing that. But the fact that boosting went from being disgusting, retail, how dare you, to being accepted is interesting to see how the player psyche evolved. In 2004, if you told people what Classic would have looked like an anniversary in 2025, they would have looked at you like you have two heads. Nah, ain't possible. No way. Not humanely possible. There is no universe where that would be normal or acceptable. And guess what it was? It was acceptable. It was 100% worth it. Not one person in 2025 anniversary would complain if a boost was added. They would complain publicly on the forums. They would riot publicly. There would be a shit ton of sales. All my TBC videos, all my anniversary videos, even my mop videos, you know what I hear? I can't wait for the TBC Dark Portal bundle so I can buy a boost. Nobody cares about the journey. The journey is dead. We have gone full circle to hating retail and wanting classic, to going back to wanting those retail conveniences, those retail quality of life features. But part of the problem of that was bots. There are so many bots that it eroded the community vibes and the community feelings. If there wasn't as many bots as there are in the game right now, people would probably still dislike boosting and botting. If you actually had to play the game and nobody could get an advantage, people wouldn't care. You know what else needs to be botted? My sub count. So hit the subscribe button. Vanity, ego, come on. But let's put a hold on where we are in the modern day and go back to the evolution. In comes hardcore and then season discovery. Let's start with hardcore. It brought back the journey. It brought back the world. It brought back the feelings of playing the game how it was meant to be played because it was enforced. You couldn't cheat. One dungeon, this, the difficulty. If you die, you lost everything. There was no room for failure. There was no room for wiping or losing everything. It was incredibly difficult. And people were terrified of losing all that progress. So they tried, they played slowly, they played carefully. They invested themselves in the world and they invested themselves in the journey properly. That's the thing. The keyword being properly reintegrated themselves into that vanilla lifestyle, the vanilla cycle of playing. But outside of hardcore, the fatigue was still set in. Season of Discovery, boosting is commonplace. In every phase, people figured out a way to boost. In every phase, there was a way to skip the gameplay. In phase 1, people were selling Wailing Cavern items. Get your prebis. In phase 2, people were selling dungeon runs. You can get this gear, you can do this, let me boost you to 30, let me do this. In phase 3, incursions and the gold and skipping everything. In phase 4, selling all the previous dungeons, selling nomas, selling this, selling that. Any possible way to make gold to boost you, people would do. Come fast forward to phase 7 and phase 8. Paladin boosting by pulling the entire Scourge event in area and getting you effectively a level every 5 or 6 minutes. Boosting you from 1 to 60 in like 4 hours. 50 gold a level, and people are paying it because at a certain point, despite adding all the quality of life features to make leveling faster, and Season Discovery leveling is very fast, People just want to get to the end game. They just want to play the end game. The journey is no longer the journey. Which brings me back to the modern day. And how acceptable it is. What was once taboo, how dare you, is now, man, I can't wait. I used to hate retail. Retail is terrible, all this quality of life, the game plays for you. My brother, are we seeing the same games here? Because I feel like Classic is heading in the same direction with how many quality of life features everybody wants and expects. And a big part of that reasoning is, it's fatigue, it's old content. That's no longer new content. What was once fresh in 2004 and 2019 is now boring. You can only re-release the same game so many times, no matter how many tweaks, how many changes, how many caveats you do to it, before people get tired and burnt out. I'm on like, what, my 15th character, 16th character at this point? I don't even remember. I have so many characters that I don't even know most of their names. It's some variant of Eben or Zar, just some random ass shit. And I don't even remember half my characters. I'd have to log on to White Main or Fairlina or whatever servers they're on. Because that's what's happened. And honestly, part of me feels like the player base is so old, they don't really have the time anymore. I feel like that's the biggest major reason is, you were once a kid, you were young. I know this is kind of nostalgia baiting, but if I look at just my YouTube analytics, my average viewer, and I get 300,000 views a month, is quite literally 35 plus. 70% of my audience is over the age of 30. 90% is over the age of 28. That's where the player base is. The entirety is old. Jobs, kids, wives, husbands, whatever you're looking at. People don't have the time to level anymore. And even if they did, they don't want to spend that time doing a boring grind again. They just want to play the game the way they want to play. And that means boosting, WoW tokens, and just level boosts are commonplace in the future. When Classic Plus does happen in the future, I would not be surprised if they added a level boost 6 or 12 months into the game's experience, because the player base wants it. And based on what I'm seeing in TBC Anniversary's hype, the people definitely want a boost. And despite me being against it, Blizzard would be stupid to leave money on the table, and they have the same analytics, way more analytics than me. And if I can see how much the player base wants the level boost, imagine what they see. So welcome to the evolution of boosting. It's no longer a bad thing, because we have changed. And this is modern gaming. Convenience is king, because people don't have the time to grind for 50 hours or 60 hours. They just want to play the game. And honestly, it's okay that the community has evolved, but we kind of have to admit it, that this is where we are now. There is no more this nostalgia baiting. We used to be like this, the game used to be like, it used to be amazing. If it was amazing, you would play it and not try to skip it to the very end. The fact that we are shows that we no longer care about what the game used to be, we care about what the game is now. So this is modern World of Warcraft. Convenience is king, and we are getting one step closer and closer to retail with each new experience. I can't wait for Classic 2030, where from level 1 you can buy a WoW token or a level boost. I know that's a joke, but hey, it may actually happen. Nonetheless, if this video triggered you, like and subscribe. If this video made you happy, like and subscribe. We don't hate half-assed on this channel, we full hate. So if you're gonna be a hater, be dedicated. Be my biggest hater. I've got people leaving hate comments on every single video. Be like those guys. Also check me out on Twitch and hate me live over there, Monday through Thursday, 1 PM to 4 PM EST. Thank you all for watching. Ebenhard out. Peace.